Hey, I'm Jeff Nolan here on the Las Vegas Strip, about to sit down and chat with Carlos Santana. I cannot wait. This is amazing. We're launching a cocktail line with Carlos's Casa Noble tequila and doing a charity event for the Milagro Foundation. It is going to be amazing. Let's check it out. It's a lovely day. Music exists in the world. And Carlos Santana's here. How
Hi.
great is that?
Very grateful. This is a beautiful day.
Well, thanks for taking the time.
My
I
pleasure.
really appreciate it. So I have a few questions for you I think might be fun to talk about a little bit. One thing I've always wanted to ask you, do you think that music, your music in particular, or any expressive art, comes from within you, or do you feel like you work as an antenna for something outside?
It's both. You know, both are the same. I think anything that's fabricated from preconceived from the mind or anything like that, it doesn't last. You know, it becomes the flavor of the second, and then it's disposable, like disposable sound bites. I think that all the music that I love, whether it's Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, or Exodus, Bob Marley, or any of the classic, that they stay eternally relevant. All of them, they will tell you they don't remember doing it. They were just channeling it, like you said, you know. And it's an important thing for people to know that you need to get out of the way. In other words, when I say get out of the way, don't think about it. I think Neil Young was telling me that someone told him that if you're thinking, you're stinking, which is something I think they use in terms of golf or any kind of excellence expression. So yeah, I think the main thing is to prepare yourself and work at getting out of the way, learning how to get out of the way, learning to get out of your own way.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that you would say that. Listening to your music, it feels like it's bigger than a person. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because Santana never shows up alone. We bring everything with us, you know, and that's why we have that sound that is beyond a nation or a flag or patriotism or anything like that. It's all inclusiveness, like Bob Marley and Michael Jackson. There's an all-inclusiveness that gives it a different kind of sound, resonance, and vibration.
Tremendous. If you were going to play one Santana song for a young musician who wasn't familiar with your music yet, what would you choose?
I'll probably choose a ballad, you know, because very few musicians know how to be vulnerable, to strip themselves from everything that they learn and just be raw, naked, and true. So I would play a ballad, either San Pati or Europa, or a song by Coltrane, but mainly a ballad.
San Pati.
Yeah.
That song is my jam.
Thank you, man.
One song, Carlos Santana's favorite song of all time.
Oh, from our band?
No,
In general.
Maybe from your band, maybe from...
I love Supreme, John Coltrane.
Good answer. All right, Carlos, I'd like to name a few musicians, a few artists, and just tell me what comes to mind when I say their name.
Okay.
Gabor Szabo.
Oh, mystic, spellbinding, total mystery in romance, totally spiritual romance, mystical gypsy, Hungarian gypsy, a person who totally got me out of B.B. I love B.B. King. I hope you're doing better, Mr. B.B. King, chairman of the board. But he got me out of B.B. King. I was one of those like Michael Bloomfield and Peter Green and many. And when I heard Gabor Szabo, he just transported me into a place where it was still the blues. It just had a different, because of Gabor Szabo, I could understand more Miles Davis and Coltrane and Bola Sete and Kenny Burrell and Grant Green. But it took Gabor Szabo to show me that there was another configuration in the expression of music. Even the Manitas de Plata, different than Manitas de Plata or Paco de Lucia, still a gypsy, but more of a gypsy that's coming from Ravi Shankar.
I can see that. It's funny because you just mentioned him in your answer about Gabor. Mike Bloomfield.
He's a total sweetheart, man. That guy was, you know, we miss him so much. I thought that he was Bill Graham's son because he looked so much like Bill Graham and he acted so much like Bill Graham. You know, they were both like very Yiddish dudes. You know, I mean, they have this vocabulary, and I'm just really really grateful that I got a chance to get into the circle of Michael Bloomfield and Bill Graham because it was a beautiful circle to be with. You know, and Clive Davis. You know.
Do you feel that Bloomfield's tonal approach affected you at all?
Yes, well, because he comes from B.B. King, you know, and when I started listening to Bloomfield after he went to East West, which was listening to the same thing Gabor Saba was listening to, which was Ravi Shankar, you know, they started merging, like Yusef Lateef, they started merging jazz and blues with Eastern mysticism. And so the scales are like, dee-da-doo-doo-dee, like they got Carla Pandit. You know, like that.
The organ.
Yeah, like that. You know, so there's something really as kooky and crazy as Carlo Pandit was. There's something really valid about his approach to music because, like Michael Jackson, he created a persona called exotica music. Anyway, back to Michael Bloomfield. Michael Bloomfield, he inspired me to you know, to leave my house. Him and B.B. King, they didn't say it out loud, but they inspired me to, it's time to stop washing dishes and be a weekend musician and become a full-time musician. But it was listening to Michael Bloomfield and B.B. King around the same time, then I just made a choice to have a different destiny for my life than doing what my mother would say. I love my mom, but you know, after a while you can't just always do what mom say, you know. You have to find your own way.
One more on this. Let's go with John Lee Hooker.
Oh my God. Okay, well, John Lee Hooker is center of gravity for funk and realness. And, you know, to discover John Lee Hooker and Lightning Hopkins and Jimmy Reed, but then again, John Lee Hooker has got that thing that, this is why I love the Doors so much. I'm the Crawling King Snake, you know, and the Boogie. Thank God for John Lee Hooker because if you're in between John Coltrane and John Lee Hooker, you're going to be a supremely valid musician like my favorite band, which is the Doors. That's what they are, between John Lee Hooker and John Coltrane.
I can think of somebody else who's in between there, too. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of Carlos Santana, dead center on that one.
Well, I love him, so thank you for saying that.
Well, it's true. If you could go back in time and give young Carlos Santana a piece of advice, what would you tell him?
Watch the accountants and the lawyers.
You're not the first person to say that. Well, Hard Rock has some really great memorabilia from various stages of your career, and today here at Vegas, we're going to get a couple more pieces. How would you like to see? What artists would you like to see your, let's say, one of your PRS guitars or an outfit from you? What artist would you like to see it displayed next to on the wall of a Hard Rock? What would excite you to see it next to?
Otis Redding, or James Brown, or people from the '60s. I'm unapologetic. I think that the '60s, all the way to the middle '70s, and then it got plastic and synthetic and phony, you know. But the '60s, it was a no-nonsense era, you know, with adventuresome and discovering and taking the hamster out of the cage. So anyone from the '60s, especially Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, you know, I know everybody's going to think it's like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and Cream and Led Jeff Beck, but no, I go more towards this other direction of, you know.
You're a soul musician.
Yeah. I mean, all that is incredible. It has its own place and its own validity. But Marvin Gaye for me, you know, Marvin Gaye, like Coltrane and Miles, is I'd rather be still a disciple of them, because to me they are like Dr. J and Arthur Ashe of music. They're on another level. It's not just the 60s that they represent. For example, we can play right now What's Going On, every song on that album, and it's supremely relevant right now with the pulse of what's happening in the streets. Cream, not so much. Jimi Hendrix, somewhat. Led Zeppelin, yes. But there's not that many bands who have that now, stay forever-ness, like Marvin Gaye.
Well said.
So that's what I want to be.
See if we can arrange that.
All right.
Carlos, what was the first guitar you owned?
Did I own?
Yeah, when you were a kid.
My father brought it to me. He found out that I was interested in music again, because when he came to San Francisco, I stopped playing the violin. So my mom told him, hey, your son is back into music again, and he's really interested in the guitar. So my father brought me a big fat guitar like Wes Montgomery. And I didn't know you're supposed to put steel strings so that the pickups can be loud. I was putting nylon strings, so I couldn't get any electric sound out of it. The people told me, hey, no, man, you can't put nylon strings. You got to put a steel string guitar so it'll resonate with the pickups. So it was my dad. My dad bought me my first guitar.
Still have it?
No, man.
Long gone?
Long gone.
What's happening with the reunion album?
Well, thank you for asking. We're all really excited about it. Greg told me a long, long time ago, Greg Raleigh, he says, there's undeniable chemistry in this band, just like Paul McCartney and John Lennon, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, everybody has their own chemistry, and there's a chemistry in here, man. That I know you're antsy-pantsy to go out there and discover Miles and Coltrane and Weather Report, but don't forget there's a chemistry in here. And I said, yeah. At that time I wasn't in a place to listen to, because I think that he needed to do his own thing with Neil and Journey, and I needed to do some serious discovery, about other forms of music. But now that we circled the wagons and we went around, I understand what he's saying, because as soon as we go into a room and he starts playing and I start playing, it's an intangible, tangible thing that you can feel and hear, that chemistry, So I honor it more than ever.
I think the world's kind of looking forward to that one, Carlos.
It's going to be really funky.
Excellent.
I'm going to make sure of that.
All right, well, are there any young contemporary guitarists that you dig right now? How do you feel about the state of the instrument in the 21st century?
Yeah, there's Derek Trucks, Warren Haynes, and the new gentleman, Junior, Gary Clark. Gary Clark Jr.
Clark, yeah.
Gary Clark. I think that all of them are incredible. I think that all of them may want to discover more people like Sonny Chirac and Gabor Szabo, and not box themselves into being, something that someone else is going to make you be, I think that, and it's an invitation. I'm not telling people who to be. I am saying the same thing that Miles Davis said to me. You can do more than what you're doing right now, by broadening your three-chord progression blues, and by broadening your listening taste palettes. There's Gabor Szabo, there's Sonny Chirac, there's Alice Coltrane, there's African music. So, while we love the blues, don't just listen to the blues like Albert King. I mean, they're great. Albert King, B.B. King, Freddie King, it's incredible to get all that. But you can be more and do more than that. To all of them, I say that, because I think that once they do arrive at, like Jerry Garcia, Jerry Garcia made that exploration. And so you start listening to Ravi Shankar or to other things, because what you're not going to lose. But you're better, if you want to really spread your wings at its fullest, you have to expand your Rolodex and your portfolio, let's say, musically.
Excellent advice from Carlos Santana himself.
Thank you
so much.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. How's this stuff? Pretty good?
Yeah, you want a squig?
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Say when.
Okay, thank you.
I'll join you.
All right.
Casa
Get
Noble.
some fire water.
Cheers. Ooh, it's smooth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Very gracious.
Santana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So that was amazing. We sat down with Carlos. I had a series of questions, and I knew that he would be incredible to talk to, but I think that we are all better musicians and artists now from just having spent a few minutes with him. He's clearly an amazing guy, and we could have spoken to him until 3 days from now, just nonstop, digging into the nature of art and creativity. He's one of those people who is just a truly, truly gifted artist. It goes beyond being a guitar player or being a legend, icon. Those words get thrown around a little bit loosely today. Carlos Santana definitely qualifies.